pain that was. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jason here, and thanks for stopping by. So you might notice by some of the things that I have got here on the table, we are going to be doing some 12-volt electrical work today. One of the things that's a bit of a letdown with my JK is the radio. The CD player in it's broken, doesn't work right, and hasn't worked right since I got the Jeep. So it's time to go ahead and upgrade the radio in it and do some good stuff by the way of bringing it up to modern days. This is the radio that we're actually going to be installing today. This is a Kenwood DMX 770-05S. Now this is just a receiver. It doesn't play CDs, but that's okay. It has USB inputs, so we can use it to play Pandora, Spotify, such like that. So we're going to go ahead and install this. Throughout the day today, we are going to be doing a lot of 12-volt wiring work. Tools required for this job are going to be a good quality pair of strippers that crimp insulated and non-insulated connectors. I always use crimp and seal butt connectors. These are the appropriate way to do any type of wiring on your vehicle. These are 14 to 16 gauge butt connectors, so they should work great. A torch to go ahead and heat them up with a soldering attachment, just in case we do have to solder some wires. Some flux core wire solder. We have regular vinyl tape, just in case we got to tape anything up, but we shouldn't need to. And liquid electrical tape. We do have an entire assortment of heat shrink here that we can put over wires just in case we need to. We have a pack module. What this does is it allows your CAN bus to work with your new radio. We don't have the factory amplifier, but what this will enable us to do is have 12-volt switch power without having to tap into anything. We will still have the reverse trigger, which is important because later on we're going to be installing front and rear view cameras for the stereo because it has two inputs. And it also allows the radio to turn off when you open the door. So super important, super awesome. Definitely a good buy. We have a Metra 95-6511 multi-kit for 2007 and up Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles. This is just a dash adapter to help us get it looking factory and looking good in there. We do have a impact driver to pull out screws and such, just in case we got to remove some trim panels to run the microphone for the Bluetooth. We have here another pair of wire strippers. I like these because they have adjustable depth and you can get a pretty accurate pull on the wire every single time without kind of having to gauge with your regular strippers. So these are awesome. Good buy from Blue Point. A small electrical screwdriver and our brains. The first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to check over all of our literature for all these, kind of read the instructions for them, get an idea of what we're going to do, and then we're going to go out and remove the actual factory stereo from the Jeep. So the first part in all this is checking out all the information, making sure that we understand everything, make sure everything's going to work together, make sure nothing's damaged, didn't get damaged in shipping, and then we'll go out to the Jeep and start pulling the dash apart. So what's really cool about this adapter kit for the dash is it actually explains to you how to take the dash apart. That's super handy information. I'm going to go ahead and flip back here to Jeep. We're in Jeep Commander and Cherokee, Jeep Wrangler 2007 through 2010. So it actually shows you here how to disassemble your dash. This is super awesome information. So just spending a little bit of money on the mounting kit in this case has paid off. We have perfect instructions on how to do it. Bonus. So this lower trim bezel right here is just clipped in. Just go ahead and use your small pry bar and pry up. You have two clips at about 2 inches in and almost 2 inches from the end. And then that removes relatively simply. Nothing major there. We'll just go ahead and set this off to the side. So the second step is to remove the two Phillips screws that we've exposed by removing that panel. Now it says that they're Phillips screws, but they're actually look like 5/16 or 1/4 inch screws. So we'll go in and get a socket for that. Now the next part is to remove this top trim piece. Start near the rear of the panel. All the clips and stuff are on the front. So we'll just go ahead and get our panel tool in here. So once you get that unclipped in the back, you can kind of slide it forward. And pull it off. Be careful not to rip this. This is your compass module for your cluster over here. So another thing about these radios is they are actually prone to catch fire. I've seen a couple YouTube videos, one in particular where the mechanics went for a test drive of the vehicle, and as soon as they got back, you could see a fire down inside of this radio. So it's, in my opinion, a worthy upgrade. I definitely don't want my Jeep to burn down because of the radio. And these JKs, some of them have been known to just burn to the ground. So it's always a good thing to be cognizant of. If it's a safety upgrade and a convenience upgrade, then that's awesome. So we're just kind of going to leave that panel right there. We're not going to remove the entire thing. There's no reason to. We can reach everything on the radio now. The next part is going to be to actually remove these 4 screws. All right, so we have now got our stereo removed. We're going to remove our antenna connection. And we are going to remove our main stereo plug. Now that's it. That's as easy as it gets to remove the actual stereo itself. Pretty simple job. We'll go ahead and set that off to the side. One more caveat here is you will need to cut this top bracket right here to be able to slide in a double DIN stereo. I'm okay with that. Some people aren't okay with that. So if you are not okay with that, you might want to put in a single DIN stereo. But everything should be okay as far as all that goes with me. So the next part in this is going to be for me to cut this corner out right here and right here. So the next thing that we're going to do here after we get our stock radio pulled out of the dash is we're going to come in and we're actually going to affix the mounting kit to the radio. There's 2 different types of brackets here. There's what's called a long nose and a short nose. The nose being how far it protrudes forward. We will probably end up using the long nose brackets because of how this radio is actually set up. Maybe the short nose brackets, I'm not sure, but we'll put them both on there and see how they look. See which one looks better, see which one kind of matches the radio a little bit better. So let's go ahead and get to that. Now also noted in this stereo instruction is it says that we are going to have to be cutting parts of the subdash out. I haven't done that simply because I want to have the radio there and kind of see exactly what I need to cut out. I'm not just going to kind of guess with it. I want to cut out as little as possible. So making sure that we've got the brackets and everything on the radio and we hold the radio up to see exactly what's got to be trimmed is kind of the best way to do that. So now that we've got the stereo brackets mounted, we can go ahead and set the stereo itself off to the side, and we're going to work on the actual wiring harness for it. One thing that you will need to purchase also, if you are putting this style of stereo in, is you will need to purchase a antenna adapter. Now this antenna adapter is a 40 EU10 for the European style plug. I know it says VW, BMW, and European vehicle antenna adapter, but this is actually the one that adapts over to the Chrysler harness as well. It's got a very small style connector on it, and it goes to a aftermarket style radio adapter. So make sure you purchase this. This is Metra 40 EU10. I'll make sure I put a full parts list in the down in the description below. So the first thing that we're going to look for is there are two different harnesses that come with this pack module. One of them will fit vehicles with the external amplifier, which we do not have, so we want the one that fits with the external amplifier. The easiest way to kind of see which one that you have is to go and see which one of these harnesses physically plugs in to the existing connector. Ours is going to be this one right here. So pretty much what we're going to do here now is we're going to go through and we're going to match up the wires. The wires are labeled and they are also referenced in the instructions. These are pretty generic wiring colors. These are pretty similar on all radios, but these right here are the ones that are going to make all the difference in the world. It's the standby power, reverse trigger, all that stuff. So here is the actual plug for the steering wheel controls, which we do not have in our model, so that won't be used. But this is for the actual pack module right here. So this connector is one direction only, so you don't really got to worry about putting it in upside down. Just go ahead and make sure that that is plugged in to home, and then we will adapt our wiring harness over to this harness. We'll put everything together real fast. So the way I am choosing to do my wires, since they are so small and they are too small for the connectors, is I am soldering and heat shrinking the wires. Now, not everybody does it this way. I understand that some people just have the smaller heat and seal butt connectors, but I don't have those right now. All I got are 14, 16 gauge wire, and this is more like 18, 20 gauge wire. So solder and heat shrink is working fine. To do this, I know my methods are a little bit different than some people use, but I'm just getting a small slight twist on the wires, just enough to hold them together. I'm grabbing my torch. I've got it adjusted down to a very fine flame. And I am just gently heating the wire and sliding the solder connection into a piece of heat shrink. It's really simple. It's going to be a durable, good, long-lasting connection here. This is the way that I would recommend to do it, but if you don't have time or if you just want to use a butt connector, then hey, more power to you. Alright guys, so here is my radio and interface harness now that it's all done. You can see all of my soldered connections are heat shrunk. This harness went together really easy. A couple of the things you got to watch out for is the reverse on the pack module and the reverse on this are different colors. The park switch is different colors. There's a couple wires that are just different colors, but if you stop and pay attention, everything will be okay. Now there are two wires that I did not use. One of them is the vehicle speed output from the actual pack module itself. I don't know what I will need that for yet. and the other one is the remote control output from the radio. Neither one of those were used, so I just put some blue heat shrink over them and shrunk them down so they are easily identifiable in this harness. I also used the small tie wraps that all the wiring harnesses came in to secure them down together and to make them look nice and neat. This is the connector for the steering wheel controls, which we don't have, so it's just set off to the side. But other than that, we've got the camera positive and negative. We will use those at a later time. This end goes to the stereo, this end goes to the vehicle. That's it. We've got everything here that we need. So the next part of this is to go out and plug this into the dash and plug the stereo in, make sure all the functions work, and then we are going to come back in, check and see exactly what we got to modify on the dash before we mount everything up. Alright guys, so let me show you what's got to be trimmed out. This section right here, this top section of this metal bracket is going to have to be cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut from this notch here up on both sides, and that should give me enough room to actually slide the radio in. But right now it's interfering, so I can't get it all the way slid in. If you are installing one of these stereos in yours, you'll probably end up having to cut this sub dash as well, which is what it's called in the thing, or in the installation manual. And I might end up having to pull this up and just cut the bottom of it off and stick it back down in there for the compass module. But I'm going to go ahead and pull my power tank out here and cut this bracket right here with a small body saw, and we will see what's going on after that. Alright, so I took the handy dandy body saw here and I put it inside the dash, and I actually cut this top piece out of the rear dash support. So I'm going to go ahead and check now and see if that was enough to get the radio mounted. Hopefully it was. I don't want to remove too much from the dash. I mean, it's not structural, it's just sheet metal, but every little bit counts, I guess. Alright guys, so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys the radio. I finally got it installed. Everything works great. I'm actually streaming Pandora right now through my phone, which is set up here for the web link. I don't have the USBs completely run yet. There's still a little bit of a mess. I will install them permanently. I'm thinking about putting them right here in the dash. That way a USB can plug in there and there. I do have the microphone for the actual Bluetooth calling right there, which is awesome. I already called the wife on it. Everything works and sounds wonderful. I can definitely say that the pack module works. Go ahead and put it in reverse, and you can see I don't have the camera installed yet, but the radio does go to interrupt and put that on. It also rapid charges phones, which is an awesome feature. So it's not a slow charger for more modern phones, it's a fast charger. It has the capability to run front and rear cameras, which I do intend on installing both in there. So that's an awesome feature. Put a rock light or put a rock camera underneath the front of the Jeep. It'll be super. So everything works great. I'm really impressed with the stereo. The mounting kit worked exactly as advertised, so I do highly recommend them. All of the actual products that I bought will be in the description at the bottom of the video. Once again, everything worked out super. The only modifications that had to be done was to cut the very top of the dash in the back, the actual metal, sheet metal support. So that worked out fine. No problems. Everything has worked out really well. I enjoy the radio. It feels good to have a radio that's a little bit more in the what is this now, the 21st century. So my wife's car has all kinds of cool stuff. Now it's finally time that the Jeep has a nice radio and can do some more modern functions. So super happy. Thanks you guys so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on installing a Kenwood dual DIN radio in your Jeep JK. Comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.